The NBA offseason just won't quit. The Oklahoma City Thunder made a trade that made some headlines as they sent Carmelo Anthony to the Atlanta Hawks, where he'll be bought out. Not going to focus on that really, though. I'm going to talk about Dennis Schroder, the point guard that they took back in the move. What is his fit with the Oklahoma City Thunder? Can he fit with Russell Westbrook? Can he back up Russ and be effective in both of those areas, one of those areas, potentially neither one of those areas? Let's talk about it. First, we have to talk about how Dennis has been with the Atlanta Hawks. His box score numbers are pretty good. I don't think the actual efficiency of his game is that good, but we'll dive into this. Let's start with what I think is his best trait, is his mid-range jump shooting. He's actually one of the best mid-range shooters in the league. I think he is quietly in the Paul George, DeMar DeRozan, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant levels, where the percentages combined with how often he shoots from there, pretty damn good. I think he's one of the better pull-up shooters out of the pick and roll, and I think that's a big reason why his pick and roll percentile is actually really good. It's like 70%, but, well, we'll talk about in a little bit why I think that could end up being a case of advanced numbers not really telling the whole story. But I'll give him credit. His mid-range jumper is pretty damn legit, and I do think it kind of suggests that he may be able to take that out to the three-point line, I hope, because I think for the OKC Thunder, that's going to be a big thing with him, because I think he's going to have to play off the ball more often. And up to this point, though, the three just hasn't really been a thing. He's never shot league average from outside. He shot like 29% this previous season. His catch and shoot threes are really bad. They're at like 28% on about 2.5 a game. Now, he does take some threes like in transition where they're pull-ups or they're contested, and you hope that he could just clean those type of shots up. But still, I mean, the three-pointer, it just hasn't been good for him up to this point in his career. But again, you know, given how good his mid-range has been, we've seen big guys who can shoot mid stretch out to three, so maybe there's a chance that Dennis could turn into a three-point shooter. Next, we have to get to his playmaking. The 6 assists per game, I mean, that's not a bad number, but I'm more focused on the fact that when you watch the Hawks on a semi-regular basis, the dude likes to dribble, and sometimes he kind of hijacks the offense. Maybe it's to try to beat his guy off the dribble, and he just can't do it, or whatever. His thin frame certainly doesn't help him in this department. And as a result, he might waste 7 or 8 seconds off the shot clock and nothing really happened, and then he's got to pass it off to someone else, and the possession is usually ruined at that point. That's not going to help you with your value as an offensive player, of course. But depending on when you tune into Schroder, there are times when he seems like a pretty damn good playmaker where he can beat his defender, he can get into the teeth of the defense off of a pick and roll, force the defense to collapse onto him, and then he can make some pretty good passes where he's dumping it off to a big man, or he's throwing a skip pass to a player on the wing, or he's hitting someone in transition and the pass is right there and everything's good. So he definitely has potential as a playmaker, but I think a combination of sometimes thinking he's a little too good as a scorer on top of not having all the playmaking instincts, it can sometimes be kind of rough. Defensively, once again, the fact that he's really skinny, not a good thing. I think he's had moments in the past as an on-ball defender, and it does seem like he can sometimes psych himself up to be at least a good one-on-one guy, but overall, his defense just hasn't really been there, to put it bluntly. So I think there's up and down with Schroder, excuse me. Yeah, so now if we talk about what does this mean when he's on OKC, well, I don't love the fit next to Westbrook, because we've seen that it doesn't really matter who Russ's teammates are. He's going to have the ball. He's going to shoot it a lot. I mean, Kevin Durant was on this team, and Russ was still running the show. So Schroder is going to be probably off the ball a decent amount of the time if these two play together. And because of his shooting woes, I don't love that fit. Now, to his credit with Schroder, he's going to have better teammates around him, and he's never had someone like Westbrook who can draw the defense in the way he does. So we will see some more wide open attempts for Schroder, and as a result, we could see that 3-point percentage creep up. But based on what he's done up to this point in his career, I think there's reason to believe that he's just never going to be that kind of a player who can play off the ball and get his catch and shoot numbers to at least be respectable. And if that's the case, that's kind of a rough fit next to Westbrook. Also, I think that opens up the floodgates for Andre Robertson playing less minutes next to Westbrook, and that's not good, because whenever he's in there, OKC is a better team. Even if his lack of a jump shot is a real thing, he's so good on defense that it makes up for it. So then you say, okay, well, Schroder can back up Westbrook, right? Well, number one, Westbrook plays like 35 minutes a game. So what, Schroeder's going to play 13 minutes? He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who's going to come in for 13 minutes and just be under the radar. It seems like he's going to try to prove himself, and he's going to maybe get a little antsy with playing on the bench so much. And, I mean, I feel like that could happen even if he's playing maybe mid-20s a game. So that's not beautiful. Also, OKC doesn't have the most imaginative offense, and I think you kind of need that with Schroder. Now, the fact that he's got Paul George is good, because PG is one of the best off-ball players in the league, and I think it would make sense for Billy Donovan to have these two play together to improve the spacing with Schroder, because I think he does need a decent amount of spacing to be an efficient playmaker and all that. But even so, I don't think you want to give the ball to Schroder too much when Paul George is out there, because part of me believes that just giving the ball to PG might just be better for you. I mean, you could play him at power forward. He can just overpower, well, not overpower, he can out-athletic a lot of NBA fours, even guys who are really threes and slide down to fours like he would. And I don't know, like, I feel like while Schroder deserves some ball handling opportunities, PG is a pretty damn good isolation player. And I don't want to take away too many of those ISOs, because I want to make sure that Schroder gets his pick and rolls and all that. So I don't know. I feel like there's room for that working out where PG and Schroder could share the offense at times, but I do fear that Dennis would take over a little bit too much, and it would kind of marginalize Paul George to the point where he's just a spot-up guy. So part of me does believe that this OKC team, even with Dennis, the best stuff for this team is still going to come with him on the bench, because to me, this team is built around Westbrook and Paul George carrying the load on offense, playing off of each other, and getting Paul George more attempts now that Melo is gone, and then the role players just fill out everything else. And when I mean role players, I mean Steven Adams being a great roller to the rim, great rebounder and very good defender, Jeremy Grant, Robertson, Patrick Patterson, Alex Abrinas, these specialists who are either defenders or spot-up shooters, and the team can be really good on defense, and, you know, you just let the two top guys do their thing. Dennis Schroder does throw a monkey wrench into all that, and, well, I'm kind of skeptical, but I guess it could work out.